Hi everyone, my name is Monique, and today I'm going to be doing a solo playthrough of a flip and write game called Fliptown. This game was designed by Steven Aramini and published by Right Stuff Games. And in this game, you are trying to be the best in the West. It has a Western theme to it. And so you're going to be doing things like progressing up a trail and robbing chickens and trains and trying to progress down a mine. And it actually has a heavier rule set for a flip and write game. But the neat thing is there's also sort of a poker mechanic because everything that you do is going to be dictated by a deck of cards. Now, this is not a solo only game. This game plays 1 to 4 players. And we've actually played it multiplayer recently, which made me want to try it solo. And so today I'm going to start with a teach of the game, and then I'll go straight into my solo playthrough, and I'll end with my thoughts. If you'd like to jump around, I'll include timestamps in the description below. Now, there are a lot of rules to this game, so if I make any errors, I'll add corrections to the description, as well as in a pinned comment. And last but not least, if you enjoy content like this and would like to see more in the future, please consider subscribing. And with that, we are ready to begin. So if you'd please direct your attention to the center of the table, we're all set up here for a solo game of Fliptown. Welcome to the Wild West. Now, in this game, each player is given a player mat that houses all of the different areas that we will be visiting when we try to do things in the Wild West. We have the trail, the Badlands, the mine, the town, and the cemetery. And I know everything is really tiny, so over the course of the game, I will do my best to read everything out loud. Now, you may notice that there are a lot of symbols that relate to a deck of cards. We have suits and we have values. And that is because in this game, everything that we do will be determined by a standard 52 card deck, including the use of a poker hand that we'll be creating over the course of the round. Now, the way that the game works is the game is played over the course of 3 rounds, and each round has 6 phases, starting with the shuffle phase, which means at the start of each round, you're going to shuffle the entire deck of cards. So I'll just do that sort of mediocrely. Once that's shuffled, then you move on to the next phase, which is basically just setting aside the top card of the deck face down, because this is the sheriff card. At the end of each round, you're going to have to face the sheriff who will be trying to arrest you, essentially. So this will make more sense a little bit later. Then you move into the next phase, which is where you take all of your turns. And each round, you get to take 5 turns back to back, which means over the course of the game, you'll have taken 15 turns. And the way that a turn works is you are going to flip over the top 3 cards of the deck. And so of the 3 cards, you're going to choose a suit card, which will determine which of the 4 main regions you're going to be taking your turn in, a value card, which will correspond to the specific site in that region you'll be taking your action in, and whichever card is left over will be added to your 5-card poker hand that you'll resolve at the end of the round. And so let's just say, for example, of these 3 cards, I choose the spade, the jack of spade as my suit card, the 6 of spade as my value card, and the queen of clubs as my poker hand. In a multiplayer game, by the way, all players share the same 3 cards that were flipped over for the turn, but everybody gets to make their decisions independently. Now, if this were the combination that I chose, this means for this turn, I'll be visiting the Badlands because the Badlands is the spade and that is the suit that I chose. In the Badlands, I'll be resolving site 6 because that is the value card that I chose, doing whatever the Badlands does. And I will notate my poker card in the poker card area of my board. And so since this is the first turn of the first round, I'm going to write the queen up here and circle the clubs. And since you're taking 5 turns per round, at the end of the round, you will have a 5-card poker hand that will hopefully score you some rewards. And that is the basic concept of what the game is built off of and what we are going to be doing for a majority of the game. Now, in visiting the trail, you'll have to have chosen a heart as your suit card. Let's just say the lineup looked like this. Now I can visit the trail. Your goal when visiting the trail is to progress up the trail, or to the right, I guess, as far as possible, because the further you go to the right, the better the rewards get. The value card that you chose determines how far you can go. So in this example, I chose a 6, which means I can go all the way up to here. Now, the thing is, you always have to start from the left. And for each benefit you pass, you have to cross it out. And you can never revisit that site ever again. So in this example, if I decide to stop at the 4, I would circle it, I would cross off all the sites that I skipped on the way there, and I would gain the reward that is at that 4 spot, which is, in this example, is 3 stars, which in this game is points. And whenever you gain stars, you mark it in your star area, as well as 1 wanted. Now, wanted is a bad thing. They're symbolized by these wanted posters. This will determine whether or not the sheriff arrests you at the end of the round. And so anytime you see a wanted poster as part of the reward, you have to circle a wanted on your board. And to be clear, now that I've passed all 3 of these sites, in the future, if I were to choose a heart as my suit and say a 3 as my value card, I could not do that because I've already crossed off all 3 of these sites. You cannot ever backtrack once you progressed up the trail. So I would have to choose higher and higher value cards, essentially. And just to kind of give you an idea as to what some of the other rewards are, because you'll see the same sort of combination of rewards in all of the different regions on the board. Like I already mentioned, stars are points. Anytime you see gold nuggets, you're going to mark that number of gold in your gold area. There's also money that you'll be earning. And so anytime you earn cash, you'll mark that in your cash area. Money and gold are 2 different things, and they're used for different purposes. Just so you know, if you didn't quite like the combination of cards that were drawn that turn, you can spend gold to modify that. You can spend 2 gold to modify the suit card to a suit of your choice. So there is some flexibility there when visiting the different regions. In addition, you can spend 1 gold to modify the value card by 1, either up 1 or down 1. And you can spend any number of gold to do this. So if I really wanted to get to a 10, for example, then I can cross off 4 gold to do so. In each region, you'll also see bonuses that have to do with the other 3 regions. So in the case of the trail, you'll see the spade, a club, as well as a diamond here. And anytime you gain those bonuses, it essentially lets you go to the corresponding region as if you had a value card of any value. So it's a bonus action. And lastly, anytime you see the tombstone symbol, that allows you to visit the cemetery. And the cemetery we'll discuss a little bit later. Now moving on to the Badlands, visiting this region requires, of course, a spade. And thematically, here you are trying to steal chickens, cows, stagecoaches or horses, I guess, and trains. Now, the value card that you chose will determine which of these things you actually attempt to rob. So because I chose a 6, I am attempting to rob this cow. And each of these sites can only be visited once per game. So once I attempt to rob that cow once, I can never go back and attempt it again. Now, in order to make this attempt, I have to flip over the top card from the draw deck, and the value will determine whether or not my robbery was successful. If the value on the card is greater than or equal to the value of the site, which in this case is a 6, then I would gain all of the points and money that correspond to that site. And if you can't see it, it's real tiny. It shows 4 stars and 3 cash. All of these different sites also require you to take a certain amount of wanted, which of course are these wanted posters, because robbing is a bad thing, right? However, if the value of the card is less than my target, which is the case here, then I would still gain all the wanted, I would gain half of the points, but none of the cash. So it's a bit painful to be unsuccessful there. But regardless of the results, if you are able to visit all 3 sites that are in a row, then you gain the bonus that's on the right-hand side, which is going to be one of the war region bonuses. Next, we have the mine that corresponds to the diamond suit. And if it's the first time you're visiting the mine, your value card will determine which of the top 2 sections here you'll actually get to visit. Because my value card is a 6, it's really tiny here. The top left corresponds to a range between ace to 7, and the top right is 8 to king. So because it's a 6, I would be visiting the left-hand side here, and I would gain all of the rewards that are in that section, which in this case is 1 gold nugget and a hammer. Now, anytime you see a hammer and a gold pan as a reward, you circle those respectively in your track here, and these serve as sort of an income at the end of the round. Gold pans get you gold, and hammers get you cash. Now, the next time I visit a mine, depending on my value card, I can either continue progressing downwards from this excavated room, and again, it's really tiny. Going down this way requires an ace to a 4, and going down this way requires a 5 to 7 as my value card. Alternatively, I can choose to excavate the other room. So basically, you can either start from the entrance of the mine again or from a room that you previously excavated already. But you can only ever descend. So for example, if I had previously excavated all the way down to here, I could not use this room to go upwards into this one, if that makes sense. You're only ever descending downwards through the mine. Now, the further down you go, the more lucrative it becomes, but also the riskier, because these last 2 rows always require you to gain wanted. But if you ever get to the very bottom here, these will gain you the silver star benefit. And this is basically an endgame scoring criteria. As an example, the one I circled here will get me 1 point per circled robbery, or 1 point per circled trail stop. And I know this was not legal, by the way. But these you're going to want to achieve depending on how well you've been doing in the other regions. Now, the last of the 4 major regions is the town that corresponds to the club suit. And the town is actually the most complicated part of the game rules-wise, because in this region, there are 13 different buildings, and they all give you some sort of a special ability that you can unlock and utilize for the rest of the game. Now, I'm not going to go over every single building because that would make this rules teach so much longer. But just as an example, if I were to visit the town with a value card of 9, then I would be visiting the value 9 building, which is the gunsmith. Now, the first time you visit a building here, you also gain the bonus, the one-time bonus at the very top of the building, which in this case allows me to visit the trail, again, with any value card of my choosing. But once I resolve that, I would cross it off, and I would never gain that bonus again. The town is the exception to the rule, where you can actually visit the same site multiple times over the course of the game, because each time you visit, you can unlock something differently. As an example, my 9 building here is the gunsmith. The first time I visit, I can choose to spend 3 cash in order to purchase the pistol. And the pistol would allow me to give me +2 to my card value when robbing in the Badlands. Now, the next time I visit the gunsmith, I can choose to upgrade my pistol to a rifle by paying 4 cash, and instead of giving me +2 to my robbing stuff here, I would gain +4. Some buildings, such as the saloon, provides you just a way to gain additional points. So in the case of the saloon, when you visit here, you can spend 2 cash to turn it in for 1 star. Limit 8 stars per visit, which means you can keep visiting the saloon if you just have a ton of money to waste, basically. Other buildings, such as the bail bonds over here, gives you some sort of benefit depending on the cards that are drawn. So this is sort of the gambling, betting aspect of the game. When you visit the bail bonds, you're going to choose one of the 3 types of outlaws to hunt: the jack, queen, or king. So as an example, if I were to maybe circle the queen, then I would mark that up here, that I'm hunting the queen outlaw. Now, for the rest of the game, anytime we flip over a queen amongst the 3 cards that we flip over, I get to choose one of these 3 rewards, either 4 cash, 2 gold, or removing 2 wanted. And that's for each queen that show up in that lineup. And again, you can visit the bail bonds multiple times to unlock a different outlaw. Now, those are just a couple of examples of the buildings that are on here, clearly. But they all do wildly different things, and so I'll just talk about them as we play the game. Now, if you decide that you don't want to visit the combination allowed from the lineup, then you can choose to forgo the suit and value card entirely and instead visit the cemetery. And so the way that the cemetery works is the middle section here, the middle tombstone, is circled at the start of the game. Each time you visit, you're going to circle one of the other surrounding tombstones. Let's just say I go and I circle this one. Any bonuses that are in between 2 circled tombstones, you gain immediately. So in this example, I would gain this bonus, which is 2 gold nuggets, and then I would cross that off. Now, the issue is every time you visit the cemetery, you always take 1 wanted. Unless you visit the Undertaker in the town, which is the ace value building. The first time you visit the Undertaker, for the rest of the game, you ignore wanted when you visit the cemetery. The second time you visit the Undertaker, you unlock the shovel, which is over here. And now, every time you visit the cemetery, you not only not take the wanted, but you also gain 1 star. And that is a basic overview of how a turn works, as well as how all the different regions works. Now, if anything was unclear, you'll probably see me do it during the playthrough. But again, you're taking 5 turns in a row. So once you're done resolving these set of 3 cards, then they get discarded, and then you'll draw another set of 3 to take your next turn. Now, once you've taken all 5 turns, you should have a 5-card poker hand. So the next phase is where you resolve your poker hand. So let's just say I pulled another queen miraculously, and then I just had nothing. 2 queens, a 2, 3, and 4, and let's just say they were all hearts. When resolving your poker hand, you're going to consult the chart below it, and it is very straightforward. You're basically just going to see what you have, which in this case is just a simple pair, and you're going to get the reward that's listed next to it. So 1 pair gets me $2 and a point. It's typically a certain combination of money and points. If I get a royal flush, which is the best poker hand, then you get 10 cash and 9 points. So this is just something you want to keep in the back of your mind so that you can gain bonus rewards at the end of the round. And one thing I didn't mention is gold cannot be used to modify the suit or value for your poker card. And aces, by the way, are considered a 1 for all intents and purposes of the different regions on your board, but for when resolving your poker card, it can be either high or low. Once that's done, then you gain any of your income from gold pans and hammers. Again, it's 1 gold per gold pan and 2 cash per circled hammer. And then you always end the round by resolving the sheriff card. Now, the sheriff is going to try to arrest you depending on how many wanted posters you have. If the value of the sheriff card is lower than the amount of wanted posters you have, then they arrest you and you have to pay a penalty depending on what round we're in. If it's the first round, it's either $10 or 4 points, and it just gets worse from that point on. And if you have 14 or more wanted, then you are required to lose stars. Now, the good thing is in the Wild West, you are allowed to bribe the sheriff by paying 1 gold for each wanted poster you have. Now, you have to make that decision before you reveal the sheriff card, and bribing the sheriff will make it so that they will not arrest you no matter what. But of course, you are still taking a chance that maybe the sheriff wasn't going to arrest you anyway. And just so you know, there is a building in town, the sheriff's office, which is the Jack, that allows you to peek at the sheriff card. So if you are in a really, really bad spot, you can always visit that building and know immediately what the sheriff card is. And that's essentially it. At the end of 3 rounds, you tally your score by counting all of the stars that you have. You get 1 point for every $4 and for every 2 gold you have left over. And of course, you score all of your silver stars if you're able to unlock any of them, plus all the stars you've accrued throughout the game. And in a multiplayer game, then it's whoever has the most points wins. But in a solo game, you compare your score to the final ranking at the back of the rulebook, and it basically tells you how well you did. All right, and I think that's it. Sorry if that was a lot, but I think we're ready to begin now. So if you are familiar with this game, I am not going to be playing against the cow bots, I think they're called. The game basically comes with these 3 cards that you can play against if you're playing the solo game. They just make the game harder, and I am not as well versed at the strategy of the game quite yet, so I'm just going to be playing the standard game with the asymmetric characters. These are Wild West characters that you can choose to use or not. If you don't use them, then everybody has the same standard starting resources, but if you use them, everybody will have asymmetric starting resources and a special ability. So I think I will use one, and I think I'm just going to randomly decide. All right, here we go. I am going to be the grave robber. Oh, interesting. So my starting resources are 3 cash, which I'm going to mark over here. And I'm going to do my best to keep this neat, but it will get messy, just so you know. I start with 1 gold, and I start with a... Wait, what? I think I start with a shovel. I start with a shovel unlocked. I think I start with a shovel, which means that each time I visit the cemetery, I score a point. Although I have not visited the Undertaker yet, so I would still need to visit the Undertaker if I don't want to take the wanted whenever I visit the cemetery. This character is basically incentivizing me to go to the cemetery as much as possible because my special ability says once per game, I can take a cemetery bonus action. But I don't really start with much cash or gold, so I guess that is a trade-off. All right, well, there you go. I've already shuffled the draw deck, so we're just gonna go ahead and skip to phase 2 of the first round, which is setting aside the sheriff card. So that's the sheriff card for the round. All right, let's go into the first turn of 5. So these are the 3 cards that we're going to be assessing here. They are mainly red suits, which is interesting because if you visit the bank, you can bet on either red or black by paying 4 cash. And each time the entire lineup of cards is all red and you bet on that, then you gain a point in the first round, 2 points in the second, and 3 points in the third. So we would have scored a point right there. Now with these cards, we can visit either the trail, because we have hearts here, or the mine, because we have a diamond. I think I want to get started on the mine. So that means we are going to choose the Jack of Diamonds as our suit card, because that's what we're visiting. And so do I want to use a 2 or do I want to use an ace? Now, ace is a 1 when you're visiting these regions. But when we're talking about the mine, it really doesn't matter which one I choose because both of them will lead us to the same room, which means the decision is which one do I want to use as my poker card. I am terrible at poker. I don't have any experience. So I'm just going to choose the 2 of hearts and you can all tell me why or why not if that was a bad decision. So this is our decision. We're going to the mine. We're using an ace as our value, which means we're going to go down this way. So I'm going to circle this room here. This is going to give us 1 gold nugget and a hammer. So now we have some income going into the end of the round. And finally, our poker hand is the 2 of hearts. So I'm going to write the 2 in here and I'm going to circle the heart. That is it for our first turn. So we just do this 5 more times. So I'm just going to discard them face down. It does not say to do that, but I'm just going to do it. And we're going to move into turn 2 of the first round. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay, wow, it's 3 red cards again. I feel like that's so rare. Okay, so these are all hearts, which means we're going to the trail. I think it might be in my best interest to use the 4 as my poker card because that way we can at least try to go for a straight because I already have a 2. It's great that these are all hearts because if a straight doesn't work out, then maybe we can try for a flush. Now, considering these 2 cards are both high values, it doesn't really matter which one we choose as our value card because I don't want to go that far up the trail this early. So I'll just do that. And again, when you're going up the trail, you have to start from the left. I'm going to skip the first site. So I'm saying no to that forever. But I think I will take the 2 value. Even though my value card's a king, I can go all the way basically to the end and just say, forget the trail for the rest of the game. But that would be a horrible idea. So I'm going to take the reward at the 2, which in tiny symbol here is either a hammer or a gold pan. Now I already have 1 hammer. I don't have much gold. So let's just get a gold pan for ourselves so that we can earn some gold. And of course, our poker card is a 4 of hearts, and that's it. So the solo game can actually be quite fast because you're not waiting for anybody else to decide on their cards. But let's go ahead and move into turn 3. 1, 2, 3. Wow. Oh, no hearts. Okay, well, that just dashed my poker hand plans. Now, with these cards, I could essentially visit either the Badlands or the mine. I'm so afraid of the Badlands. I'm definitely going to want to go there eventually, but I think I want to go down the mine for now. So let's just choose the diamond as our suit. I'm going to choose the king. Wait. Yeah, I'll choose the king as my value and the 6 of spades as my poker card, just in case I can find a 3 and a 5, just in case that rare situation exists. So let's do this first. We're going to go down the mine, and this is a king value, which means I cannot continue to descend down this way because this would require anywhere from an ace to a 7 only, which means I have to start back at the entrance and go this way into this room, which is fine because, again, I was short on gold, and I'm going to want to gain gold if I would like to modify the suits in the future. So it's 1 gold nugget and 1 gold pan, which is nice. And then, of course, my poker card is a 6 of spades. Cool. All right, let's move on to the next one. So this is turn 4. I'm hoping that we can find a 3 or a 5. Come on. Stinks. Okay, I'm gonna have a nothing for my poker hand. So here's my issue. I can only visit the Badlands or the trail. Now, if I were to visit the Badlands, I would have to go based off of a queen or a jack, which means I would have to rob a really high value because a jack is an 11 and a queen is a 12. That's going to be really tough to do without unlocking one of the guns from the gunsmith. So I think I'm just going to go up the trail and I'm going to use the 7 as my, well, what do I want as my poker card? I guess I'll use this as my poker card. And I'll do this. Let's just do suit, heart, value, queen, poker, card, 7 of spades. So let me just write that down now. 7 spades. So I'm going to visit the trail, and I think I will stop at the 3 because this gets me 1 star. So now we're on the map. We have a point. And I can visit the cemetery. And again, we have the shovel, which means we gain another point because we're visiting the cemetery. So I think at the cemetery, I'm going to circle this tombstone here. So this doesn't get us any benefit right now. But I have to remember that we have to circle a wanted because we're visiting that. And then I'm going to gain a star because of our shovel. But the next time we visit the cemetery, I can circle one of these two tombstones and gain 2 rewards, which honestly, I think I'm going to do now. So I can use my special ability. It says once per game, so I can do it at any time, I believe. I can take a cemetery bonus action. And to notate that you've used it, you're supposed to tuck it under your mat like that. With that bonus, I'm going to visit the cemetery and I'm going to go here. So this does get me another wanted. It also gets me another star, but I now get both of these rewards because they're sitting in between 2 circled tombstones. So I'm going to get this, which is a gold pan, and I'm going to get this, which is what I really wanted. So this is going to the town and basically unlocking anything there. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to visit the Undertaker. So I'm circling this. I'm gonna, I really shouldn't bleed into another building because it has those bonuses at the top. So I'm just going to do that. So now I have unlocked the Undertaker. So now whenever I visit the cemetery, I ignore wanted. I can go here as many times as I want now without having the fear of taking a wanted. And essentially the Undertaker building is sort of useless to me now because I have both the shovel and the other benefit there. Now, because it's the first time I visited this, I also get the top bonus, which is taking a mine action with any value, which just basically means I can choose any of these 3 to unlock. Oh my goodness, this is going to be a lot of chaining of bonuses right now. You know, I would like to be as versatile as possible, so I'm going to go down the middle. I'm going to go here. This gains me a gold nugget, and it also gains me the trail benefit, which I'm going to use to skip this area here, and I'm going to use it to take the number 5 site because this gets me 12 cash. Now we have a ton of money. Hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh my gosh, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, we have a lot of money. We can use this money to purchase things in town or to pay our fee if we are arrested by the sheriff, but hopefully we can hold on to it. All right, I believe that's it. I don't think I was missing anything there. We already wrote down our poker hand. So let's go into the final turn of the round, and hopefully we can at least have a pair. Okay, we can have a pair. If I use this for my poker hand, we'll have a pair of 4s, which will gain us $2 and a star. So just do that for now. Which means we can either visit the Badlands or the town. So if we keep this combination and we visit the town with this suit, using a queen as our value, that would allow us to visit the saloon. And at the saloon, you basically pay money for stars. I don't think I'm there yet. It's 2 cash for 1 star, and you can do that up to 8 times. I think it's too early for me to spend my money like that. So I'm going to do it the other way around. It's time. It is time to visit the Badlands. So I'm using this as my suit, which brings us here at a value of 3, which is not much. We're just robbing a chicken, okay? We're trying to steal a chicken. So we're visiting that site. And again, because I'm going here now, I can never rob the number 3 chicken ever again. So good luck. We need this card to be a 3 or higher. Chances are high that it will be. Yes. All right. We were successful. So you still take the wanted. That always happens. But I also gain the points, which is 2 stars. It's real tiny there, but I get 2 stars and 2 cash. 1, 2. Nice. Lovely. So if we are able to rob the other 2 chickens, then we also get the cemetery bonus. But that's that. So let's go ahead and mark our poker card, which is a 4 of spades. All right, that is it. That is the end of the turns phase for the round. So now let's resolve our poker hand. Now it's not much of a hand because I just have a 1 pair, but I do get something for it. It's still something. It's 2 cash and 1 star. Nice. And again, it's because I had that pair of 4s. All right, so now we move on to the next phase, which is the pan and work phase, where we basically gain income for everything that we have here. So I have 3 gold pans, which means I gain 3 gold nuggets. And now we can start using our gold in order to modify the suit if we really, really want to. and I gain 2 cash because I have 1 hammer. So 1, 2. Okay, finally, it is time to see if the sheriff is going to arrest us. So this card needs to be higher, greater than or equal to a 3, because I have 3 wanted posters right now. I think the chances are pretty good. So I don't necessarily think I need to bribe the sheriff with my precious gold. So let's just say we're not bribing the sheriff, and good luck. Okay, it's a jack. So we are good. It is definitely higher than the amount of wanted posters. We don't have to pay anything. And that is the end of round 1. So far, I'm not earning many points. I think I'm actually doing worse this game than the last game that I played. So we'll see how it goes. Either way, I am going to go ahead and shuffle this deck of cards to prepare for round 2. All right, we are all shuffled. So here we go. We're starting round 2. This is the sheriff card that we're going to be at the mercy of later. So let's go ahead and jump straight into our turns. The first turn of the round, I wish I did the betting, because look at all these jacks. That would have been fantastic if I visited the bail bonds. So with these cards, I can basically visit any region that's not the Badlands. Honestly, I think I will visit the mine, because now that I had my mind set on the bail bonds, I think I really do want to go there. Which means I would need to choose the 3 as my suit card and one of these 2 as my value card. Which one do I want for my poker? I don't know. I'll just go with this. Let's not complicate our lives. So we're visiting the mine. The value card is a jack. So I'm basically going to go from this previously excavated room, going downwards where it says jack to king, and I'm visiting this room here. So this is going to get me a gold nugget and the ability to visit the town. Now the thing is, I can visit literally any building in this town, but my heart is telling me to go to the bail bonds. So I will. So I'm going to go to the bail bonds, and it's my first time going, which means I get the bonus at the top, which is 1 star. Now, at the bail bonds, again, if you did not join me for the teach, I can choose Jack, Queen, or King. And I'm basically trying to hunt those outlaws. And anytime we pull up, so basically if I had visited the bail bonds before and had I chosen a Jack, I would have received rewards for both of these cards because they both appeared in the card lineup. And each reward is going to be either 4 cash, 2 gold, or removing 2 wanted posters, your choice, for each. So now that 2 jacks have already been revealed, I think I'll go for the queen. So I'm going to hunt the queen outlaw. All right. And of course, my poker card is a jack. It's a jack of hearts. Okay, so that's it for our first turn. Moving on, I really, really hope we draw a queen, because that would be cool. Here we go. 1, 2, and 3. Ooh, no queen, but we have a 10 of hearts, which I think I'm going to reserve for my poker card since I have a jack of hearts already. So with this, I think I'd like to visit the trail, which means I'm keeping the 6 of hearts as my suit and the 10 as my value, which means I can go pretty far up the trail, but I am really just going to stop at the next stop here. I'm stopping at a lot of points on the trail, interestingly enough, which means I should probably try to go for this stop here, this bottom part of the mine, because this gives me 1 point per circled trail stop. So anyway, back to the trail. This reward lets me visit the Badlands with any value. I think maybe it would be best to just continue the chicken row. So I'm gonna have to take a wanted poster. Better make it worth it, right? Let's just go with the 4. I'm gonna go with the 4. So this has to be greater than or equal to a 4. Are we ready? 1, 2, 3. Wow, that was close. So this is a 5. It was successful. We successfully robbed this chicken. Did I circle the poster yet? I don't know if I did. If I had already circled it, well, I'm circling another one. 2 points. So that's 1, 2, and 3 cash. 1, 2, 3. If I can rob this last chicken, I get to visit the cemetery. I really hope I didn't circle an additional wanted, but I guess I'll find out later. All right, that is it for my action. So I'm going to write down the 10 of hearts. So that's actually looking pretty good so far for a poker hand. Okay, let's move on to the third turn, I'm hoping for a queen. A queen of hearts would be great. Ah, I have a queen. I have a queen. I'm going to hunt this outlaw. So because we visited the bail bonds, I get to choose 4 cash, 2 gold, or removing 2 wanted. You know what? Honestly, I think I'm going to remove 2 wanted because these really scare me. Now, anytime you remove something or you spend cash, you cross it off. You don't do any erasing in this game. But here we are. I'm definitely going to keep the Queen of Diamonds as my poker card because maybe, just maybe, we can get it straight. Now, I cannot visit the trail with a value of 2 because I basically would need to have a 7 or higher from here on out if I'd like to visit the trail, which means I will probably choose a 2 as my suit card. My value card is a bit of a problem as well because I've already visited the value 4 site. So I would have to spend a gold to try to rob a cow. But now we're getting into some trouble because this would have to be greater than or equal to a 5. And what are the chances of that now? I mean, I think it's still pretty good. It's just kind of scary. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to spend 1 gold nugget to modify this 4 to a 5. And I'm going to visit the Badlands with a value 5. I'm going to circle the wanted now. So that's 2 wanted because I'm in the second row now. Oh my goodness, I have 4 wanted posters. Okay, here we go. Please. So 5 or greater. Oh no. Ah, bummer. All right, so I was not successful. That means I get half the points and no money, which is fine. It was only 1 cashed, but I only get 2 stars. Okay, that was a little bit of a stinker there. But we did what we could. We did our best, and our best was not good enough. Okay, so our poker card is a Queen of Diamonds. All right, let's move on to turn 4. Turns are quick right now. And I'm hoping for, what do I want? 10, I want a king or a 9. Okay, that'll get me a pair. Okay, so I have a jack. I guess a jack bet wouldn't have been bad. I'm definitely going to keep the jack, I think, as my poker card, maybe, just so I can have at least a pair. Now, the thing that's interesting is if I want to visit the town by spending 2 gold to convert this into a club, I could visit the value 7 building, which is the hotel. Now, the hotel is interesting because each time you visit, you spend 2 cash in order to unlock the leftmost silver star. And at the end of the game, you're going to score points equal to the furthest unlocked silver star. So it ranges from 2 points all the way up to 23 points if you can visit the hotel 4 times over the course of the game. That's pretty nice, honestly. But if I visit the hotel once, I'm going to want to do it 4 times. And I only have 6 more turns. But the other thing that's nice is visiting this hotel will allow me to go and take a Badlands action, which will allow me to go to the cemetery. I'm going to do this. I'm going to spend 2 gold and I'm going to convert the diamonds into a club so I can visit the town. I'm going to use this as my value card and I'm going to visit the hotel. So let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to spend the 2 cash. So first time I'm spending money to circle the leftmost star. So I'm definitely getting 2 points at the end of the game. And then I'm going to take the bonus at the top, which is a Badlands of any value of my choice, which of course I'm going to use to rob the value 2 chicken. Here we go. Please do not be an ace. Oh my gosh, that would be hilarious. Okay, we were successful in robbing the 2 chicken. We still have to take a wanted. And we gain 2 points. So 2 points and 1 money. Uh-oh. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gold. I have 5 gold and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wanted. Oh my gosh. Now we might be getting in trouble if we cannot remove some wanted posters. Now I do gain this bonus immediately because I've crossed off all 3 chickens that are in this row. So I get to visit the cemetery. And I guess I'll go here. I don't actually know. But I'll go here. It's going to score me 2 points now. So here's 1, 2, and I get a 3rd because I have that shovel. And again, because I visited the Undertaker, I do not take a wanted. Whew! This is kind of nice because if I really need to unlock that final mine spot, I do have this bonus here that I can unlock by visiting that tombstone. So anyway, that is it for the turn. I'm going to write down the jack Jack of diamonds. So at the very least, I have a pair of jacks. All right, let's go. We're going to move into the final turn of the round. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. No queens. Our outlaw has escaped us, but we're basically forced to go into town. Now, seeing as we have a lot of money, we can use this lineup to go to building number 6, which is the church. And at the church, you can spend 1 cash to cross off a wanted. Limit 8 per visit. So I think I'm going to do that, honestly. It doesn't really matter what I leave behind for my poker hand, so I'll just do this. So the suit is clubs, and the 6 is letting me go to the church. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to get the 1 point as my bonus at the top. So there's 1 star. And I'm just going to spend, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to spend 5 cash. I'm just going to remove all of my wanted 4, 5. And I get to cross 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that felt great. That was basically just damage control. Okay. And my poker hand is a 2 of clubs, which is not going to contribute to anything. All right. That is the end of the turns phase. So let's resolve this poker hand, which I believe is just a pair. It's a pair of jacks. You know, I started the round pretty strong with the Jack 10 Queen combo, and then it all went south. So I have 1 pair, which is again 2 cash and 2 cash and 1 point. So 1 star. All right. Now we're going to pan and work. So 3 gold pans gains me 1, 2, 3 gold nuggets. I have 1 hammer. So that is 1, 2 cash. And finally, the sheriff will attempt to arrest us, but we have absolved ourselves. And so there is no risk here. It was a king. I didn't have to do that. Well, we didn't know. We didn't know. How could we have known? So that is it. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle this deck of cards, and then we'll get set up for the final round. We need to earn some more points. All right, we are fully shuffled, and so this is going to be the card that the sheriff will attempt to rob us with. Let's just go ahead and jump straight into turns. Here we go. Oh, we have an ace, a 9, and another 9. Okay. So no queens, unfortunately. And by the way, if this looks like a complete mess, I deeply apologize. I'm trying to make this as neat as possible. Now, since this is the final round, I think I definitely want to try to get closer to the bottom of the mine. So I'm going to spend 2 gold to turn this into a diamond. So that's going to be my suit card. And my value card doesn't matter because they're both 9s. And either way, it's going to lead me to this spot here, which is what I'm going for. So what do I want for my poker card? I guess I'll do this. I'll just go with clubs. All right. So I'm going to go down from this room here. So the 8 to 9 path basically will get me this. So that does gain us 1 wanted poster, which is fine. It also gains us 3 points. So 1, 2, 3, and 2 gold nuggets. 1, 2. Okay. And the poker card is going to be a 9 of clubs. All right. That's it for that turn. Oh my gosh, I can't believe we only have four turns left. 1, 2, 3. All right, we have a queen. So because they are my outlaw of choice, I get to choose $4, 2 gold, or remove 2 wanted. I only have 1 wanted right now. So I guess I'll just go with gold because I have a lot of money. So 2 gold, 1, 2. Okay. Now with this lineup, I think I would like to revisit the trail. So considering the trail requires a heart, I'm going to go with a heart for my suit. I would like to go as far as possible, so I'll use a queen. And then I'll go with the ace of clubs because the 9 is also a club. So maybe I can go for a flush, right? Okay, now with this, I'm just going to skip ahead to the 9. So I'm skipping this site as well as this one, and I'm just going to go for the 9, which lets me take a town bonus. And I think with that, what do? I'm going to visit the hotel again. So I have to spend 2 cash to circle the next silver, which is 7 points. I don't know if I'm going to make it all the way to the 23. One could hope, I guess. But anyway, that was the decision I made. So let's move on to the next turn. 3 more actions, essentially. 1, 2, 3. Okay, no queen. I do have a club here, so maybe I should consider saving that then for the poker the poker card. Now I can't use these cards to go up the trail because this is a very low value, but I can visit the mine. So the mine is a diamond with a value of a 3. I'm basically forced to go down this way because again, you can always start from a different room because none of the other rooms connect via a 3. I need higher values. So let's go this way. It's an ace to 4. This gets me a gold nugget and an ability to visit the Badlands. Oh, this is my least favorite spot. It makes me too nervous. But I think I will visit the Badlands, and I'm just going to go for this 6 value cow, this lowly cow. It makes me take 2 wanted, and let's see if I gain any points from this. At the very least, I'll get 2 points, so that's something. So I need this to be a 6 or higher. Oh my goodness, this is the second. That's the second time. That was off by 1. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. So I don't get any money, but I still get 2 stars. It's not nothing. All right, that stinks. Okay, so 7 of clubs. Okay, I'm definitely going for a flush now. But that was that. We have two last turns. Here we go. Please. Okay, so that's 1. Oh, lots of clubs. All right. Lots of jacks were shown. That would have been a great first bail bonds turn. So I'm going to do something a little bit strange. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to choose this as my suit card, but I'm going to end up changing the suit. I'm going to choose the jack as my value and the 10 of clubs as my poker card. And the reason why is because I really want to go for this flush, and you cannot change the suit when it comes to your poker card, but you can't choose the suit card, change the suit card, I mean. So I will spend the 2 gold, and I'm changing the heart into a club so that I can visit the town using a value of jack. So I'm visiting the sheriff's office. This is going to allow us to peek at the sheriff card. I don't have to worry about that going into the final round. But before we forget, let's take the bonus at the top, which is visiting the mine with any value of my choice. And I think that I'm going to unlock either this one here, which is 1 point per circled mine, or this, which is 1 point per circled trail stop. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, definitely going here. So this does require me to gain 3 wanted. 1, 2, 3, which is fine because we're going to get to peek at this. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total wanted. So now at the sheriff's office, we can peek at the sheriff card and then choose to gain either a point or remove 2 wanted. So let's see what it is. It's a 3. Oh no, that means we can only have at most 3 wanted, and I have 6 right now. So I'm definitely going to choose to remove 2 wanted. So there's that. Now we're down to 1, 2, 3, 4. If I can remove 1 more wanted and not take any more, then we're fine. Otherwise, we'll just bribe the sheriff with gold. Okay, so our poker card is a 10 of clubs. And now we can move on to the final turn of the game. Here we go. Give me a queen. Oh, we have a club. Oh, this is great. We're going to get a flush. That's fantastic. All right. So then, since I am the grave robber, for my final turn, I think I'm going to forgo the card combination and visit the cemetery. It probably sounds like a strange decision, but let's also just do this. It doesn't matter which one I use as long as it's a club for my poker card hand. Okay, so basically I'm forgoing these 2. I'm not using it to visit anywhere else. I'm just going straight to the cemetery because it'll at least score me a point. And I can circle this tombstone, which gains me $4. So let's take the $4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's gain the point. Oops. The point for visiting the cemetery. And then I also get this reward here, which allows me to visit the mine with any value. And I think visiting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the trail stop, would be good because that gains me 5 points. I think that's the most amount of points that are here, but I do gain 2 wanted. But that's fine because I will just have to bribe the sheriff is what it is. All right. Oh yes, and my poker hand is a 4 of clubs. Okay, that is it for turns. Let's resolve the poker hand. And for the first time, I actually have a true poker hand here, y'all. So it is a flush because they were all clubs, which is going to get us 6 cash and 5 points. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 5 stars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now we are going to pan and work for the final time. So that is 3 gold, 1, 2, 3, and 2 cashed. So 1, 2. Okay, and then of course we must bribe the sheriff because we already know what value that is. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wanted, which means we have to pay 6 gold, which is unfortunate. It is 3 points. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But it is better than losing either 18 cash or 8 points because it is the third round. So let's reveal this. It is a 3. All right, that is it. So there you go. That is the end of the game. So let's go ahead and go into final scoring to see how well we did. First things first, 1 point for every 4 cash. Now, I think these are rows of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, I have 3. So it's 30, 1, 2. 32? That's great. 32 divided by 4, is that 8? All right, 8. I think that's 8 points. Now it's 1 point for every 2 gold. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 gold left over. So that is 3 points, right? I gain points for all of my silver stars. Now I have them in 3 different places. One is the hotel. And again, this is the furthest right silver star that you've unlocked. So 7 points for that. And then 1 each for these 2 silver stars. This is 1 point per circled mine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this is 1 point per circled trail stop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So is that 13 plus 7, 20? That's pretty good. And then now our stars. So these are still rows of 10. So this is 29. 29 stars. Okay. Which means we have a final score of 60. I think that's what this is, right? 49 plus 3 is at 52 plus 8, 60. Yes, that is it. Let's see what that means for us. So if we go to the final ranking, our score, we used, so there are 3 different categories. There's a standard game, there's with character, or Hold'em variant. We did not do the Hold'em variant, but we did the character variant, which I think was this. So a score of 60 is rusty. Oh, we're rusty. At least we're not tender-footed. That's less than 55. Oh my goodness, who scores 85? 85 is legendary. Wow. I scored 60. Oh, and you also get a title depending on your wanted level. Oh, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm a homesteader. I'm a rusty homesteader. There you go. Well, there you go. That is Fliptown played solo. Now, again, this game plays up to 4 players. So at higher player counts, each player has their own mat, and you still play the game the exact same way, pretty much. You would flip over the 3 cards per turn, but everybody would make their own decisions for those cards based off of what they want to do. And when you're resolving the Badlands and you're robbing the chickens and the cows, then each player would flip over their own card to resolve their own robbery. But that is essentially how you play Fliptown. Now, this game was on our top 10 most anticipated games list of 2023 last year that we are sort of working through right now. We played a 3-player game of this recently, and we were all very pleasantly surprised by this design. You know, when we initially heard about it, we thought, that's interesting. It is a Western-themed flip and write game that also has something to do with poker hands. And we weren't really sure what the implementation of it was going to actually look like, but I really, really like this game. It feels so unique. It is definitely on the heavier side. So if you are interested in heavy roll and writes or flip and writes, like I am, I really, really love games such as Fleet the Dice game. I was a fan of Twilight Inscription. Now, this game is not as heavy as a game like Twilight Inscription. You can definitely understand the structure of this and sort of get into it. It's just that there are a lot of different things that the buildings can do, and the strategy for this game is hard. It is a really, really interesting puzzle. Every time you play the game, you can go down a different strategic route. The introduction of the character cards and the asymmetry in terms of what resources you start with, as well as what path you take, also make each gameplay different and interesting. But in general, I thought the game was super cool because I read through the rulebook and everything has a really interesting thematic integration. So if you're interested in thematic games, then even just reading the rules of this and hearing how all the different regions sort of play a role in this Western theme, which honestly I'm not usually a fan of, but it is really endearing the way that the theme was implemented in this game. And the decision making is so interesting because it is strategic, but also there's luck involved, and there are a lot of exciting moments, like when you're robbing the Badlands, especially when you play at higher player counts, and you know somebody is going to try to rob the chicken or something, and they flip over the card, and you don't know what it's going to be, if you're going to be successful, or even the sheriff mechanic, and trying to figure out how much wanted do I want to have at the end of the round. It is a very strategic game, and I think it is super satisfying to play and really interesting when you're in it. And it's also not that long, which I found to be really, really good, I guess, for this kind of a game, this weight of a game, because it is a meatier roll and write, but people don't necessarily want to be in a roll and write for 2 hours, right? So I think it was a really, really good sort of middle ground for all of these different criteria that we usually look for. Now, in addition to just the different variety of all of these character cards that you can choose to use or not use, there are also, in higher player counts, these bounty cards, which are basically public objectives. And you play with 3 of these, and basically the first person to reach the objective gets the 7 points, and then you flip it over. And for the rest of the game, anytime a player succeeds in one of these objectives, they score 4 points. So everybody can still gun towards them, I guess. It's just for fewer points. And I thought that these were interesting to play with. If you are a solo gamer and you're looking for more of a challenge than just a standard game, the game also comes with these cowbots. And so you can play against them. I have not tried playing against these because clearly I'm not I'm not the best at the standard game. But these basically make the game a little bit harder because I believe the way they work is when you draw a certain suit, it activates the card depending on which cowbot you have in play, and they each have a special ability. So for example, Billy the Kid says if you gain any wanted this turn, Billy steals 1 card. And I think each of them has a steal 1 card ability, which literally removes a card from the deck for the rest of the game. So I felt like these were going to be a little bit too difficult to go up against for this gameplay, so I didn't use them. And at the end of the game, you also score points for them. And I felt like if I lost to one of these characters, I would have felt real bad. So anyway, that is Fliptown. I really, really enjoyed this one. I'm really looking forward to playing it again and just trying a different strategy, introducing it to more people, because I also just love roll and writes and flip and writes in general. So this one was sort of right down my alley. Now, if you are not a fan of flip and writes that have a lot of rules overhead, might not be for you. And also, all of the print on the mats are really, really tiny. Now, they had to fit a lot of information on a small amount of playing space, so I can see why that was the case. But for some people, that might be an issue. So that is something that you might want to consider. Otherwise, I found the theme to be very, very well implemented. The poker hand mechanic was really creative. And the fact that the entire game was just built off of a standard deck of cards, super creative. So anyway, I was really impressed by this game. We're going to be talking about it again in a future Let's Talk Board Games with Naveen, because we have played this at higher player counts, and we will play it again before then. But if you played this game before, I would love to hear your thoughts. Please let me know in the comments down below. Otherwise, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!